The 25th Hour Radio Show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the 25th Hour Radio Show. I am your host, Rob Fairless, and on the phone with me today is the lead vocalist for the Grammy Award-winning R&B group All-4-One, Delious Kennedy. Delious, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me on the show.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
So, Delious, I always start each show off the same way, just to get a little background information about my guest and how they got into what they are known for. So on your end, what was it that inspired you to get into music and eventually pursue it as a career?
Well, I've always been singing since I was like a young age, from like 6 years old, in choirs and gospel choirs, and then doing the theme park shows as a teenager, and all that. So I've always wanted to do it and always had the aspiration to do it. And then after college, I moved out to California with the sole thing of trying to get my foot in the door somewhere and trying to become a recording artist. And luckily, and blessed, I should say, I met up with some guys at a karaoke contest that said they had a record deal. Of course, I didn't believe them because everybody in Los Angeles has a record deal and nobody has a record deal. But I got a call one day from the record label to come down and be a part of this group, and it all went from there.
Now, as far as that group that you're talking about, All-4-One, so you didn't know these guys up until that point?
Technically, no. I mean, there's a great story that goes along with it. I'll keep it short. But Jamie and I'm an Air Force brat, and I used to live out here in the 80s. And Jamie is also from the Antelope Valley area. Actually, all three of them are from the Antelope Valley area, which is around Edwards Air Force Base, where I used to live in the 80s. And I actually met Jamie when he was about 9 or 10 years old, when his aunt brought him to our gospel choir anniversary to sing. And I remember, and it's so funny because I remember saying when the 10-year-old was singing, I was like, that kid is really good. He's going to be something someday. And then I moved away and then came back, many years later, and we met up. And it wasn't until we were singing at Magic Mountain that I started thinking, wait a minute, is this the kid? And I called my mom, and she brought out the videotape from 1984, and it was like, here's little Jamie Jones. And I was like, no way! It's the kid that I said was going to be somebody someday.
Well, that's really cool. It was like destiny then. That was really awesome. Now,
Exactly.
I don't want to focus too much on the past because we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to ask one more question, and I do this every now and then, and I ask the guest this. Where were you, man, and how did it make you feel the first time you heard your voice performing on live radio?
Oh my goodness! I was first of all called their radio station every 50 million times trying to get them to play it, and then I was in my car outside my temp job in Burbank, and it finally came on. And I lost my mind. I was so much in love for the first time on 92.3 The Beat, and I was like, wow.
Who did you call? Who did you call to tell? I just heard myself on the radio. Who was the first person you called?
I think I called all the guys in the group, and I think one of them said, "Why didn't you call us when it was on the radio so we could hear it?" I'm like, and then I wouldn't have heard it. The time to call you. It's not like we had cell phones back then.
Yeah, no kidding. It has to be gratifying to have music that has withstood the test of time, and is very much in rotation on popular terrestrial radio stations today. Are you seeing a whole new generation of fans out there as well as the ones you acquired in the 90s?
Yes, it's. I don't want to say it's weird, but it's so much fun to see how our audiences at our concerts are getting younger. It's like they could not have been born when these songs were released, but as it is with all your parents, you listen to your brothers and sisters' music and your parents' music and gets passed down, and you become fans as well. But we definitely are seeing a younger audience, especially with the movies that it's been in, with the Minions and social media, social network and all that. They keep licensing the song out.
And speaking of fans, you guys are a part of the I Love the 90s tour, which will be in my local area on Thursday, November 17th at the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri at 7 p.m. for everybody out there listening. So what kind of reception has this tour been receiving so far?
Man, this tour has been receiving like crazy reception. It's people are coming dressed in the 90s gear, and everyone's coming solely for the purpose of having a good time. It's so much fun. The acts are back to back, and I think we all do like 15 to 20 minutes of just the hit, and it just keeps it moving. And so it's just a nonstop party the whole time.
You spoke of the audience dressing in the 90s gear. What are we talking about here? Tight-rolled frosted jeans, turtlenecks, what?
Yeah, cross colors, crimped hair, all that stuff.
That's really cool. Now was the older generation making the younger generation dress in this gear as well? Do you know?
I don't know. There are some people who are bringing their kids to the show. I have seen that. I don't see the kids dressed up. I think they probably think their parents are lame, but but I do see them there.
Now, were you acquainted with any of these other artists back in the day, or are you a fan of any of these performers who you're getting to meet for the first time?
I'm a fan of everybody on the tour. And we back in the day, we met up with Color Me Bad. Salt and Pepper gave us our first award, our American Music Award back in the day. Hadn't met Vanilla Ice or Coolio. But yeah, I'm watching everybody's show. I mean, we've been going since February, and I watch everybody's show every night.
You know, and like I mentioned, that tour will be here in this area November 17th at the Show Me Center. Now, you also have been hosting your own show called Flashback Tonight.
Yes.
Which some of my listeners in this area might not be aware of. What's the lowdown on that?
Flashback Tonight is a new late-night style talk show on the internet right now that highlights all of our favorite performers and artists from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And I started it because everybody was always asking, well, where are these people? What are they doing now? Not realizing that they're all still working. So I'm like, they'll never get on Fallon or Kimmel, so there needs to be a platform for them. And so I just went ahead and started it, and I'm having a blast with our guests. Yeah,
you know, I want to tell everyone out there listening to take a moment after listening to this show just to YouTube the trailer for Flashback Tonight. Just type in Flashback Tonight trailer on YouTube and tell me that's not good stuff. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm going to anyway. Do you have a favorite guest or favorite moment on that show you could share with us?
They're so outrageous sometimes. Carney Wilson was just, you know, I expected her to be like, you know, the Wilson Phillips angel thing, but her mouth was like a sailor. And I'm like, wow. New York, from I Love New York, Tiffany New York Pollard, she was an amazing guest to have. And she was, I was hoping to see that it was a character that she puts on, but it was not. And then, of course, I guess one of my favorite ones was Marla Gibbs from 227 and the Jeffersons.
Oh, yeah.
We did a little sketch together where she gave her hilarious one-lines, and she totally skewered me with one. It was great.
Now, you just finished your first season, or your season finale. Is there a talk of a second season there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to start back up again in the spring. The season finale is actually election night on Tuesday night, and it's Taylor Dayne, Coolio, and Darius McCrary from Family Matters.
Man, that's awesome. And going back to the group All-4-One, you guys have a 20th anniversary album out right now, right?
Yeah, we have a 20th anniversary album out right now called 20 Plus, and it's got 20 songs on there, which is 14 new songs and then 6 of the old songs remade.
And all your fans can go to the All-4-One website and purchase that album plus more. You have all types of merchandise available at your website.
Oh, yeah, we got all sorts of things there. It's just easy to go to www.all4-one.com.
And before we wrap this up, I was watching a Chicago Bulls halftime performance you guys did. I think it was last year, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The wedding?
Yeah, that's right. There was a gentleman who surprised his girlfriend by proposing to her while you were singing I Swear.
Right.
And, of course, that song was a massive hit when it first dropped. But to have that used as like a first dance song by so many couples out there at their wedding is really a true testament of its power. The emotional reaction it brings out in people is tremendous. Has your appreciation for that song changed over the years? As you have matured or grown older? I mean, do you ever sit back and just think about all the people's lives that have changed with that song? Being a part of the soundtrack to that change?
Yeah, I think that's why it never gets old singing it, because everybody has a story about that song and what that song means to them. And whenever we sing it, it's always good to look into the audience and try to see on the people's faces what that song means to them. You know, I'm glad that we have a song like that, because truly that's what's kept us going for so long, having career songs as opposed to of-the-moment songs. So we're very blessed.
Yeah, it's got to be amazing to look out into the audience and see the connection that you're making with them when you sing that song.
It's amazing. Like on our tour right now, if you get a chance to come, we sing that one. Everybody turns their flashlights on their phone, and throughout the whole arena, it's just lit up with people waving their hands side to side with flashlights. It's amazing.
So do you do social media? Do you have your favorite one where people can find you at, more often? Are you a Twitter guy, you a Facebook, or do you do any of those?
I'm trying to be it. Oh, my Lord. All the social media,
You're old
man.
school like me, man.
It's like something new every day. But, yeah, you can find me on Twitter or at Instagram at Delious_Kennedy on Instagram, or just Delious Kennedy on Twitter. And then All-4-One is just all4-1 music.
Well, Delious, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate it. I had an awesome time talking to you, sir.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.